Welcome to etvFutures.com. It's Thursday, November 1st. I'm Caitlin Sisney with your Commodities Recap. Crude oil futures retreated from a record high set during the previous session as the dollar rebounded against the euro and crude investors locked in gains. Crude oil closed at $93.49 per barrel on the NYMEX. Natural gas rose in New York after a government report this morning showed inventories rose to a record 3.509 trillion cubic feet. Natural gas closed the day at $8.64 per million British thermal units. Over in the metals complex, gold fell from the highest price since 1980 as the dollar rebounded, reducing the appeal of the precious metal as an alternative investment. Gold closed at $793.70 per ounce. Silver closed at $14.325 an ounce. Today we're joined by Derek Frey from etvFutures and Options. He'll give his short-term outlook for the commodities market.
Okay, to recap the action we've seen in the metal and energy sectors today, I'll start with crude oil. We see continued upward pressure in this market even after the big pullback that we saw yesterday. We see more upside today. I mean, it continues to be the same story that we've all been hearing: geopolitical tension, continued soft dollar, and just overall kind of bullish fever surrounding the fact that we are ever so close to that mythical $100 a barrel level. At this point, the path of least resistance is clearly to the upside, although risk is very high at this price. If you're not already long, getting long up here is a very dangerous proposition because it's very likely that we'll have some sort of a pullback in the not-too-distant future. So, again, like I said, path of least resistance is higher. So if you're willing to take a shot at it, you very well could see a push to $100, but I wouldn't get too comfortable with any long positions at this high price. Be very, very careful and looking to hedge with some puts at the very least. Looking quickly at gold, kind of the same story there: geopolitical tensions as well as a dollar that's willing to find any support, at least thus far, continues to push it towards that also somewhat mythical $800 level, and just above 800, of course, is the 1980 highs, the Hunt Brother highs, as they're sometimes called. And we'll see if those levels are tested. I do think you will see those levels fit in gold, frankly, in the not-too-distant future. But also in the very near term, both markets, I included a chart here, and the chart is three markets overlaid into one chart. The top one is crude oil, the middle one is gold, and the bottom, the black and white, is the dollar index. You'll notice that the crude oil and gold are very highly correlated, and at the same time, both markets inversely correlated to the dollar. You'll also notice that they're both at a very extreme, gold and crude oil are at an extreme point away from the dollar index, and it could be a sign that we could see these kind of revert more towards the mean. In other words, you could see dollar strength. What it's going to take for the dollar to find support is some sort of real financial support from the Fed. We did see the beginnings of that last night with them infusing some capital into the system. One of the biggest things that we would look for, frankly, is if the Fed announces that they're buying back treasuries. That would be very supportive for the dollar in the near term. It's very similar to what you've all seen over the last few weeks or months in the stock market, where companies have done stock buybacks. It's the same kind of thing for the government. If they do treasury buybacks, it's essentially very supportive to the dollar, much like a stock buyback is supportive to the underlying stock. We've reached a very extreme point in the bearish sentiment towards the dollar that's usually indicative of a reversal point. So I definitely urge people to keep one eye on the dollar at all times, and if you start to see strength there, it will be a signal to get out of long positions in both metal and energy sectors.
That was Derek Frey from etvFutures and Options. I'm Caitlin Sisney. Join us again later on PM Exchange right here on etvFutures.com.